Dear Miss Challoner. Oh, she was dear, but unconsciously the young head dropped and the pen slid from her hand. I cannot, she murmured. I cannot think what to say. Shall I help you? Came softly from the bed. I'll try and not forget that it is Doris writing. If you will be so good, she answered with renewed courage, I can put the words down if you will only find them for me. Write then, Dear Miss Challoner. I have already written that. Why do you shudder? I'm cold. I've been cold all day. But never mind that. Mr. Brotherson, tell me how to begin my letter. This way. I've not been able to answer your kind letter because I have had to play nurse for some 3 or 4 weeks to a very fretful and exacting patient. Have you written that? No, said Doris, bending over her desk till her curls fell in a tangle over her white cheeks. I do not like to, she protested at last with an attempt at naivete which seemed real enough to him. Well, leave out the fretful if you must, but keep in the exacting. I have been exacting, you know. Silence, broken only by the scratching of the stubborn, illy directed pen. It's down, she whispered. She said afterward that it was like writing with a ghost looking over one's shoulder. Then add, Mr. Brotherson has had a slight attack of fever, but he is getting well fast and will soon. Do I run on too quickly? No, I can follow. But not without losing breath. Eh, Doris? As he laughed, she smiled. There was a heroism in that smile, Oswald Brotherson, of which you knew nothing. You might speak a little more slowly, she admitted. Quietly he repeated the last phrase. But he is getting well fast and will soon be ready to take up the management of the works which was given him just before he was taken ill. That will show her that I am working up. He brightly remarked as Doris carefully penned the last word. Of myself you need say nothing more, unless... He paused, and his face took on a wistful look which Doris dared not meet. But no, she must think it has been only a passing indisposition. If she knew I had been really ill, she would suffer, and perhaps act imprudently, or suffer and not dare to act at all, which might be sadder for her still. Leave it where it is, and begin about yourself. Write a good deal about yourself, so that she will see that you are not worried, and that all is well with us here. Cannot you do that without assistance? Surely you can. Tell her about that last piece of embroidery you showed me. She will be glad to hear. Why, Doris! Oh, Mr. Brotherson, the poor child burst out. You must let me cry. I'm so glad to see you better and interested in all sorts of things. These are not tears of grief. But I'm forgetting what the doctor told me. You are growing excited, and I was to see that you were calm, always calm. I will take my desk away. I will write the rest in the other room while you look at the magazines. But bring your letter back to me to seal. I want to see it in its envelope. Oh, Doris, you are a good little girl. She shook her head and hastened to hide herself from him in the other room, and it was a long time before she came back with the letter folded and in its envelope. When she did, her face was composed and her manner natural. She had quite made up her mind what her duty was, and how she was going to perform it. Here is the letter, she said, laying it in his outstretched hand. Then she turned her back. She knew, with a woman's unerring instinct, why he wished to handle it before it went. She felt that kiss he folded away in it, in every fibre of her aroused and sympathetic heart. But the hardest part of the ordeal was over, and her eyes beamed softly when she turned again to take it from his hand and affix the stamp. You will mail it yourself? He asked. I should like to have you put it into the box with your own hand. I will put it in tonight after supper, she promised him. His smile of contentment assured her that this trial of her courage and self-control was not without one blessed result. He would rest for several days in the pleasure of what he had done, or thought he had done. She need not cringe before that image of dread for 2-3 days at least. Meanwhile, he would grow strong in body, and she, perhaps, in spirit. Only one precaution she must take. No hint of Mr. Challoner's presence in town must reach him. He must be guarded from a knowledge of the fact as certainly as from the more serious one which lay behind it. End of chapter 27.